I've been seeing a whole lot of content on YouTube recently about Artix, or Arch without systemd. And I've actually tried it out and found it to be pretty great. But I'm no systemd hater, but I do see the utility and the need for other init systems on Linux. Because, well, freedom is choice, and choice is freedom. But which also kind of makes it a paradox too, because, well, it's and also one more thing for people to fight over. But I digress. Well, as you probably know, I'm not an Arch guy. Don't get me wrong, I like Arch. And I can see its usefulness, especially on bleeding edge hardware. And, I'll be the first to tell you that I've used the Arch wiki on a semi-regular basis. But I'm a Debian guy at heart. And that's what I'm the most comfortable using. And today I wanted to show a Debian-based alternative without systemd. And in my opinion, the best one to show for this use case is Devuan. Debian without systemd. It gives you a choice of init systems when you're installing it. The older sysv init and OpenRC. And there's yet another choice that you can make after the system's installed where you can have run it. But it is not in the newest Devuan Beowulf installer. But you can install run it after the installation. But I'm not going to be doing that today. What I'm going to do today is install Devuan with OpenRC, because there's lots and lots of videos on Devuan on YouTube, and almost all of them are using sysv init. So if that's your choice, the installation of this is going to vary in one key aspect, and that's really it. And Devuan also comes stock with the XFCE desktop environment, which is my desktop environment of choice if I'm not using a window manager. So let's go through a Devuan OpenRC with XFCE install, and maybe go through another one without a window manager, without a desktop environment at all, and install a window manager. Because why not? Let's get to it. When you first boot up the ISO, you're going to get this screen here. And we get a menu to let us choose to install, advanced options, help, or install with speech synthesis. And right now we're just going to do a regular install, so I'm just going to take the first selection. Oh, if I can get over here to it. Now we're going to select our language. English is already highlighted, so I'm just going to choose that. United States is also correct. American English key map, that is also correct. And while things are getting started, I would also like to add that that Devuan uses the older network interface names. So you're going to see things like ETH0 instead of ENP6SO or something like that, which is what my Ethernet stuff is named. So now we're going to choose our host name, and Devuan is fine. Just hit tab over to continue and hit enter. I rarely ever name anything for a domain name, so I'm just going to go over and hit continue again. And here is where we can set our root password. I'm not going to set one because I want my user to have sudo privileges out of the gate. So all you have to do here is hit tab twice and hit continue. Then tab twice again and continue. Now we're going to enter our username. I'm going to call myself Mike because I'm not feeling very creative today. And I'm going to set a super secret password, which I promise is not Doctor Who themed. And yeah, I promise that it's not Doctor Who themed. And Central Time Zone is correct. And for our partition, I only created like a 32 gig hard drive for this, or 32 gig virtual drive for this. So I'm really just going to use the guided use entire disk. If I were installing this on my system, I would probably do this manually, or at least go through and set up a separate home partition or something like that, because that's generally what I always do. But for now, we're just going to use the entire disk, and we're going to have all the files on one partition. Then we're going to select Finish Partitioning and write changes to the disk. And for this to take, you need to arrow over to Yes and hit Enter. It's been pretty painless so far. Now, I think I alluded to this earlier, but this is Devuan Beowulf, which is based on Debian Buster. And just like in Debian, there's a testing branch and an unstable branch also in Devuan. The testing branch is called Chimera. And the unstable is called Series. And it's pretty easy to upgrade from one to the other. Just edit the sources.list file after the install and run updates, and then run the full upgrade command and reboot. It's pretty simple. We're going to let this go, and I think the next thing it's going to ask is if we want to scan another CD or DVD. And we do not, because this is a net install. Now we're going to select our archive mirror. It says deb.dev1.org is a good choice because it's a distributed pool of trusted mirrors. Let's just go with that. We're not going to use a proxy. And now it's going to go out and get the files and configure apt and all that kind of good stuff. Now for this part, I generally do participate in the package survey if I'm installing on hardware, but since it's just a VM, I'm going to hit no. And here's the screen that we were looking for. This is where we choose our desktop and other different utilities that we can have. Right now, the Dev1 desktop environment is selected, and that's going to be the XFCE desktop. But we can also install Mate, Cinnamon, KDE, or LXQT. There's also a web server meta package. There's a console productivity meta package, a print service, which is pretty much cups, I think, and an SSH server. So I don't need the print service, and I don't need the SSH or anything like that. So let's just hit enter, or actually we got to hit tab to go to continue, and then hit enter. And right now it's going to retrieve 1168 packages, or 1168 files rather. And this part can take a while, especially if you choose a bunch of options. Let's say you wanted to install Mate and XFCE, it's going to go get a bunch of stuff. But my internet service is kind of okay. It's not the fastest in the world, but it's also not dial-up, so all right, that took just a few minutes, and now that we are at the end of getting towards the end of the installer, now we get to choose our net system. Right now we have sysvianet enabled, or selected rather. So if we wanted to choose OpenRC, which I think that's what I'm going to do this time, just arrow down and we're going to select OpenRC. It's going to go out and install those packages. It takes just a minute. And then we're going to install grub. and we're going to select yes. We're going to select our virtual drive. And now we just hit continue. All right, now let's make this a little bit better. All right, let's go to, let's see, system, settings, settings manager, and let's go to display. We're going to up this resolution to 1920 by 1080 and hit apply. That is much better. So now we have a default XFCE on Devuan, and there's no systemd to be found. Because, well, let's take a look at in our terminal, and we're going to see what services we can enable at boot, which ones we can start and stop, and just see the locations of everything. So let's up our font size here. Let's put that on like 18 so everybody can see. And let's make these colors a little bit easier on the eyes. Okay. So let's cd into /etc init.d. We run an ls here. These are the things right now that are either enabled at boot, or that you can enable, or you can start and stop at any time. So so the commands to do this, if I drag this over, skinny this up a little bit, and let's get us another one. And let's say we wanted to install cups. Let's say we didn't install cups earlier, but now we decided that we want it. So let's do sudo apt update just to refresh the package list. And let's do sudo apt install cups. And if you saw that, it actually started the cups daemon anyway, but we're gonna pretend we didn't see that. So to do that, we need to do sudo /etc /init.d / whatever our service is. So let's do cups start, and that's all we have to do there. But you can actually shorten this up. So let's do sudo rc service cups start. Or if we wanted to stop it, sudo rc service cups stop. Sudo rc service cups restart. And that's pretty simple. I mean, if you can remember sudo systemctl start whatever, stop whatever. Now to enable something at boot, it changes it does, you do an RC update. So let's say sudo RC update cups. I'm sorry, sudo RC update add cups default. And where I'm adding that is in the default run level. So that's going to be the multi-user run level. And see, it's actually already installed in the default run level. And the same would be true for Samba or for init or for NFS if you wanted to access network shares or what have you. All of that would be roughly the same. So I just kind of wanted to show some of these OpenRC commands. They're really, really simple, and there's a way that you can actually write your own scripts and have those in the startup files as well. But I think that's going to be for a later video, because I'm going to have to dig a little deeper into OpenRC and kind of play around, and hopefully that'll be a video in the not so distant future. But other than that, we have just a regular XFCE environment. So if we're going to customize it a little bit, let's start with the panel. Let's add the say the whisker menu, and then let's bring that all the way over. Applications menu, let's get rid of that. So now we have our whisker menu. Now we can actually adjust the opacity of everything. We can adjust, you know, it's XFCE. So I mean, anything you want to adjust, there's probably going to be a properties button for anything you want to click on. So, you know, I don't really care for the mouse icon, for the mouse button. So let's go to properties and get rid of the XFCE logo. And let's go to all icons, and let's say I wanted to find a Devuan logo or something. So let's say, oh, there it is. We'll hit OK. And now we have a nice little Devuan logo at the top. And if we wanted to get rid of the panel down here, panel preferences, panel 2, get rid of it, and it's gone. So really after this, it's really just installing software that you want, configuring the system how you want. I mean, cron's going to work the same way. Pretty much everything except your, you know, sudo systemctl whatever's is now going to be sudo /etc init.d/ whatever service start stop whatever, or sudo rc update add the service to whatever run level you want. And yeah, other than that, this is a really cool little system. I really like the theming out of the box. You know, as far as the default wallpapers and the color scheme that they've chosen for this, it's not bad at all. So if you wanted to change some things, I mean, of course, there's the XFCE colors. The icons, of course, you have Adwaita, Cinnabar, Tango icons, and Gnome icons. But of course, you can, you know, this is Linux. You can theme it to to be exactly what you want. As long as you know what you want, you can make it happen. So now let's actually take a look at installing this without a desktop environment at all, and let's put a window manager on it. Let's put DWM on it, just why not? So I'm going to kill this VM. I'm going to make another one, and I'll be back in just a minute. It'll be almost instantaneous for you though. So I just decided to do a full install of Devuan without a desktop environment at all. So the only thing I did differently in this install, as from what you just watched, was I deselected the Devuan environment and I deselected the print service and only had the standard system utilities selected. So I'm just going to log in when I get clicked over into it, I guess. And now we are logged in. So the first thing I want to do is I want to run updates. I even put the same password in. So I'm just going to install a few packages like git and vim and xorg, xserver-xorg. Let's do a couple of the dependencies that I can think right off the top of my head for DWM. So let's do libx11-dev. Let's do libxft-dev and libzenerama-dev. And if that and then let's do git clone https://github.com/linuxdabbler/suckless and git clone https://github.com/linuxdabbler/personal.files into .files. So I pretty much just strung those three commands together, to install some stuff that we would need, and also 2 git commands. So hopefully I spelled everything correctly, and it's just going to run. I really like that and command, because it's pretty much saying, okay, run this command and. So it's, if this one is successful, then proceed on and do this command. And if that command is successful, and go ahead and run the last command. So if it fails at any point, it's not going to run the other 2 commands. But I mean, there's another way to do it. If you wanted to put a semicolon in there, it will move on to the next one whether it fails or not. But I like to do the and because that way I know for a fact that it did complete and it was successful before it moves on to the next one. All right, so that finished. So let's just run an ls command, and we have .files and suckless. So let's do. I forgot to do the build packages. So sudo apt install gcc and make. So now I'm just gonna create some folders, move some stuff around, and I'm gonna make some packages, and we should be ready to go here in just a minute. So I may fast forward through this, or I may just talk through it. I'm not sure. So let's cd into suckless, cd into DWM, all right, so I just made all the packages. Now I'm going to make a bin directory, and now we're going to let's make a symbolic link from home/ suckless DWM into home/bin. Now it's ln-sf home/suckless/ dmenu, and home/bin. Let's go into the dot files and let's make some of these executable. Let's see, B menu, DWM bar if I wanted to use that, DWM icon bar if I want to use that. Let's do FabBG, push, lock, louder, B menu, quieter, ref bar, shuffman, wall, and weather.sh. So now if we run an ls there, all of those are now executable. So now I'm going to change that chmod to mv, all of those to home/bin. So now if I ls home/bin, we now have a lot of stuff in there. Now I want to cat my bash aliases into home/.bashrc. I want to make a directory for home/.config and then move bookmarks into home/.config. I want to make a directory for pictures and move wallpapers to home/pictures. And then I want to cat my X resources into home/.x defaults. And that should be about it. So now that we have everything set up the way we want, I need to, for us to have a wallpaper, I need to cp home/pictures wallpapers. Let's do, I don't know, 133.png to home/.config/wallpaper.png. So now let's do vim.xinitrc. Vim home/.xinitrc. So I want to start Compton and FabBG and let's see. Actually, first things first, let's do xrender-s 1920 by 1080 and Compton FabBG. Let's do XFCE SL status and XFCE DWM. We'll write and quit that. Now I don't believe I can do start X yet because I created my bin directory after it was booted, so it's probably not recognized by the profile yet. So if I try start X, it's not going to work. So if we do sudo reboot, That's weird. Okay, we're back. I can log in and then start X. Oh, it's not displaying a wallpaper because I didn't have everything installed. So if I do sudo apt install fe compton and I think that's it. We're going to try that again. Okay. That took a little more configuring than I thought. But that was just a quick and dirty way to just pull in my dot files, set up DWM, and now I have a nice system DLS Devuan install with OpenRC and a Talo window manager. And since I did not install a whole desktop environment, it only pulled in like 112 files to set that up. So if I do an apt list, no, I'm going to make this font bigger. So apt list installed pipe through wc-l. You see I only have 573 packages installed on the whole system, which is pretty minimal. So but anyway, I just kind of wanted to show just a kind of quick way to get up and running with Devuan with OpenRC and either a full desktop environment or a window manager. And that was just a really quick way to do it. If you want to try out my build of DWM, by all means, go ahead and try it. It's not much, but it's mine, and it's pretty easy. And if you'd like to see the video that I made about DWM, as far as the installation, configuring, a little bit of patching, that kind of thing, I'll leave that up in the cards sometime during the video, hopefully about now. So that's about all I've got for today. I just kind of wanted to give Devuan a little bit of love because, well, I've been seeing a lot of Arctics content, and a lot of the YouTube people, Linux guys, they're really showing a lot of Arctics love. And with me being a Debian guy, I figured I'd show Devuan a little love. So thank you for watching. Y'all have a nice day. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next one.